People Who Live in Brass Hearses is a standout episode in the anthology series Tales from the Crypt, showcasing the perfect blend of dark humor, horror, and psychological tension that the series is celebrated for. From the very opening scene, the viewer is immediately pulled into a world where appearances are deceiving, and morality takes a back seat to greed and selfish desire. The episode begins with the introduction of Lionel, a seemingly respectable undertaker with a meticulous attention to detail in his craft. The first few minutes establish his character with subtle visual cues: the immaculate polish on his funeral carriages, the crisp lines of his suits, and the eerie stillness of his funeral home. Every prop, every shadowed corner is carefully curated to create an atmosphere that is both alluring and unsettling, signaling to the audience that this world operates by rules that are morally inverted. The attention to detail is reminiscent of classic Gothic horror, yet updated with a modern sensibility that allows the story to remain both relatable and shocking. As the narrative unfolds, we are introduced to Lionel's obsession with the wealthy clients he serves. Here, the show begins its exploration of avarice and social status, not simply as background, but as a driving force for the plot. Lionel is depicted as a man whose ambitions are tied to the material wealth of others, and this obsession is immediately mirrored in his interactions with his colleagues and clients. Scenes where he inspects coffins or calculates funeral costs are portrayed with a heightened tension, highlighting the disturbing intersection of commerce and mortality. What makes this episode particularly compelling is the layering of psychological horror over physical actions. Lionel's descent into moral corruption is not sudden but meticulously built through a series of increasingly disturbing choices. A pivotal scene occurs when Lionel discovers an old, abandoned hearse in the back of his lot. The vehicle, long forgotten and shrouded in dust, becomes a metaphor for suppressed desire and unacknowledged transgression. The cinematography here is subtle yet powerful, with close-up shots of Lionel's hands brushing away dust and lingering over the brass fittings, capturing a mix of fascination and obsession that speaks volumes about his inner life. The story further deepens as Lionel begins to fantasize about a world in which he controls the fortunes and fates of those around him. The episode excels in juxtaposing mundane interactions with morbid desires, such as the seemingly casual conversations he has with a funeral director, layered with undertones of threat and manipulation. There is a brilliant interplay between dialogue and visual storytelling, where a line as simple as discussing funeral arrangements is imbued with tension because of the camera angles, lighting, and Lionel's subtle expressions. Comparatively, this episode draws inspiration from classic moral fables in horror literature, where greed and pride are punished in ironic ways. However, Tales from the Crypt updates these themes with a self-aware, darkly comedic edge that keeps the audience engaged and unnerved simultaneously. The show's ability to oscillate between horror and humor is particularly evident in a scene where Lionel's carefully constructed plans begin to unravel. The timing is impeccable, as the horror of his actions is softened just enough by ironic twists to heighten the shock without desensitizing the viewer. By placing Lionel in increasingly ridiculous but terrifying situations, the episode critiques the absurdity of excessive ambition while still delivering genuine suspense. Personal reflections on this episode reveal an enduring fascination with the way horror can explore human psychology. Lionel's character serves as a mirror to our own latent desires and moral compromises. Watching him navigate his twisted ambitions forces the audience to confront uncomfortable truths about the lengths people might go to secure wealth, recognition, or control. Additionally, the episode's production design deserves praise. From the muted tones of the funeral home to the gleaming brass of the hearse, every element reinforces the thematic content. The visual symbolism is carefully calibrated, making even the most ordinary objects carry weight and meaning. The episode's score is another masterstroke, combining subtle strings and atmospheric soundscapes to evoke unease, signaling danger before it manifests in action. This layering of sound and image amplifies the suspense without resorting to cheap jump scares. In conclusion, People Who Live in Brass Hearses is a rich, multi-layered story that exemplifies the strengths of Tales from the Crypt. It combines elements of psychological horror, dark comedy, moral commentary, and superb production design to create an unforgettable viewing experience. The episode invites reflection on human nature, particularly the corrupting influence of greed and the unpredictable consequences of ambition. It is a testament to the show's enduring appeal that decades later, this episode still resonates with audiences, provoking both laughter and unease in equal measure.